Okay guys, so we're going to talk about the cowboy and the horse. So the cowboy and the horse is what we refer to as the numerator and the denominator of a fraction. Okay, so we have our fraction here in the picture, and our fraction is 2/5. And you can clearly see that the top number is going to be our cowboy and the bottom number is going to be our horse, okay? So the cowboy rides on top of the horse. So I have a cowboy and I have a horse. Okay, and so anytime we're looking at a fraction, we're gonna refer to the top number as the cowboy and the bottom number as the horse. Okay, so the cowboy rides on a trail ride all day long and he comes home and he's tired, okay? So he comes home, here's his home. This is called the division house. Comes home and he goes inside. So the cowboy's the number 2. So number 2 goes inside. So we're gonna label our cowboy. And then outside, he leaves his horse parked. Okay, he leaves his horse parked. And when he walks inside, you can see that he is going to take off his boots and hang up his hat. Okay, and those are the decimals. He takes off his boots and hangs up his hat. And he's hungry, but dinner's not ready yet. So he's gonna have 3 donuts. All right? So that is the story of the cowboy and the horse. So we're going to use that cowboy and horse story to continue with our Texas popcorn backwards checkmark notes. Okay, now instead of going from a mixed number to an improper fraction, we're gonna go from an improper fraction to a mixed number. Okay, and we're gonna use what's called the backwards checkmark method. So, looking at our improper fractions, sometimes you have to think the cowboy is going to be bigger than his horse. Okay, so we still have our cowboy, and he is still riding on top of his horse. But just in this case, the cowboy is greater than the horse, and that's called an improper fraction. All right, so we're going to use our cowboy and horse method. And we are going to divide this fraction. So I'm going to draw my division house, and I'm gonna put my cowboy inside, and I'm gonna take off his boots and hat, and I'm gonna park my horse outside. Because we are not creating a decimal, I don't need my cowboy to eat his donuts, okay? So in this case, 5 doesn't go into 1, but it does go into 14 2 times. And 2 times 5 is 10. We subtract and we get 4. So now that we've hit our decimal, we're gonna use our backwards check mark. So the backwards check mark is how you find your mixed number. So we're gonna take our 2, which is our whole number, and we're gonna drop down and up to make that backwards check mark, okay? So 2 is the whole number, and we had a remainder of 4 out of 5. So 2 4/5. And that is our answer for the first one. That's how you can take a improper fraction and turn it back into a mixed number. Okay, so we're gonna try the next one. So the next one is 25/8. So I'm gonna label my cowboy and my horse just so I don't get confused. And I'm going to draw my division house. Okay, I leave my horse parked outside. And I go ahead and put my cowboy inside where he takes off his boots and hangs up his hat. Okay, 8 does not go into 2, so above that I would put a 0. But 8 does go into 25, and that's gonna be 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. We subtract and we get 1. Okay, I've hit my decimal point, so I'm gonna stop because if I keep going, I would make a decimal. And I don't need a decimal, right? I'm making a mixed number, So I'm gonna employ my backwards check mark. So my whole number is a 3, and then I drop down with 1 out of 8 remaining. So I have 3 wholes with 1 out of 8 remaining. And so that's the equivalent mixed number to improper fraction. So we're gonna keep practicing. We have 7/4. I'm gonna go a little quicker. So 7/4, I'm still gonna label my cowboy and horse. Draw my division house. 7 boots and hat, horse outside. 4 goes into 7 one time, subtract, and I get 3, and I've reached my decimal. So now I'm going to backwards check mark. So I have 1 3/4. 1 whole and a remainder of 3 out of 4. And the last one, I'm gonna go back to my blue. So I have 66 over 7, improper fraction. My cowboy is larger than my horse. Draw my division house. Cowboy goes inside, takes off his boots, hangs up his hat, and leaves his horse outside. Okay, no donuts because donuts mean decimals, and I don't need a decimal. 7 does not go into 6, but 7 goes into 66 9 times. 9 times 7 is 63. Subtract with a remainder of 3. Backwards check mark. We have a whole 9 with 3/7 left over. So that's how you go from an improper fraction to a mixed number using the cowboy and horse method with the backwards check mark.